Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Good to see you on this here Tuesday afternoon, and it is storming out there. And my dog, like many dogs, does not like thunder of the least. So we had to get some stress therapy, and she's right here beside me. So, how is everyone? So good to see you. I hope you're doing well on this fabulous day. I am certainly enjoying it. It is just, I love this energy. I don't know where the planets are. I don't know, what conjunction is what, but hey, it is far out. Hello there, Josh. How are you doing? Hello, Lois, Warrior Queen. So good to see you, my dear. Hope you had a good holidays, Memorial Day. I don't know. No, but it was good no matter what. David, good to see you. Material Classified. Ken, how you doing? Peace. Source Frequency. I love it. Abby, good to see you. MacRob, hello. Vaughn, good afternoon. Robert, good to see you, my friend. EO, I did email that to you. If you didn't get it, we'll get it one more time. Ryan and Paul and Haley, how are you doing? Sent you a long email. Lost in Space, how you doing? Gary, peace, my friend. Ellen, Landon, 165, good to see you. Merritt, hello to all the moderators. Squirrel, hello. Cheesesteak, good to see you. Always. Blanca, hello. Freeman. Well, let me just invoke favor in everyone. Boy, never can have enough of it. Whether they love you or hate you, they can't talk against you. They say, well, what is it about that guy? Well, does he invoke favor, everyone? Yeah, but, so great favor be upon you this day. Prosperity. And I always look at prosperity as abundant health. If you got your health, buddy, lady, you the richest person walking around. And if you have a cognitive mind that's open and growing, wow, you are truly wealthy in this life and in any other life. And may complete restoration come to you. Nothing missing, nothing broken be found in your lives. And, for whatever it's worth, I believe those things. Tomorrow, got Trina coming on. I'm going to try to get Brian, Milky Way Weekly, on Friday. Lots going on. This is a time of, it's a time of something. I don't know. However you want to define it. Just crazy stuff going on. Crazy. I don't know what crazy is. That's like saying, well, he's normal. What does normal mean? Who's defining that? Hey, Al, how are you doing? Good to see you. Health to you. I love that. Absolutely. That's how we should greet people. Good health be unto you. Well, thank you very much. I mean, they can't give you the finger, right? I guess they could, but think about it. Well, good health to you and up yours as well. I mean, I've met some people like that. We all have. I mean, it's relevant to the user. Nina, good to see you as well. But yeah, it's just the time we live in. It's crazy, folks. So check this out. Wanted to bring this up. I found this really interesting in so many ways. MSNBC.com. So get this, folks. They have found it's a marble head of the statue of Dionysus. Now, the reason why Dionysus is so important in this case is this is what modern Christianity is built upon. The worship of Dionysus, Bacchus. There was a thing called the cult of Bacchus. And what's really interesting is that this artifact is, in fact, one of the few that they have actually been able to determine to be at 1 BC to 1 AD. Critical time. One of the times that you would think that, you know, we would have a plethora of records, but yet in this time, we don't have any. And there he is. Dioneus is, you can really see, is representative of both the male and the female. And if you know the story, born of a virgin, killed and was resurrected 3 days later, etc. That's where the story come from. So, yeah. You see the T-shirt. Okay, the T-shirt. All right. T-shirt of the day is, there you go. You can see it. Duct tape. Can't fix stupid, but it sure muffles the sound. And anyway, so history coming alive. And if any of you have done your studies, you know that that is significant. It's the whole series of why we're doing this. This is still part of the magic series. I think that this subject today is one that fascinates me continually. I mean, I enjoy reading these old manuscripts, seeing where their heads were at, understanding that the ethereal exists, is real. It's going to, hey, no one gets out of this alive. That's a fact. So to me, when you get at where I am in this life, reality sets in that you know that there is a departure time rapidly advancing. And I have determined that when that time comes, I'm not going to go out in fear. Just not going to do it. And the more that I read in Michael Newton's book, and it is Newton, someone asked me about that, the Journey of Souls, I've read now 15 of the cases. Very thought-provoking. Very thought-provoking. If you don't have that book, I would highly recommend it. It's one that is a phenomenal read, no matter what your position is. But it does bring up the question, are we in multiple cycles? Everything suggests that we are. It would also suggest that there appears to be an individual purpose for each soul, spirit. There appears to be a uniqueness if you are apparently, I'm trying to choose the right word here. I mean, I could say created. I don't know if that's a proper way to say it, but it's kind of the only way I know. It kind of goes counter to the thought that if we're eternal spirit, then how can we have a beginning? Or is it that we just don't have it right? And we're all spirits created at the same time? And is it universal? I mean, these are the questions. Are you an old soul? Or are you a young soul? Now, reincarnation. Personally, I don't like it. But I also I had to tear down my prejudices, my bigotry of perception. That's what religion does. It builds bigotry. It builds walls that cut off the flow of cognitive thought, because they get you into the room and then they close the door. But the only problem is, if you're on the inside, there isn't any handle, any door handle. And many times what we find out is that we actually hold the key to get out. But anyway, I digress. The one lifetime's not enough. You can't learn everything in a lifetime. And what is the purpose of the soul? I used to buy into this myth that, well, when I got to heaven, all things would be explained to me. I would have an understanding of the universe and all of its complexity down to its smallest minutia of reality, of expression. But isn't that a way? That's a childish way of looking at things because it completely negates the responsibility each of us have in these bodies. Now, one lifetime's not enough. And then how do you measure the path or the journey of an individual soul to another one? You can't. There's no way. And so it can't be in one lifetime, because if one person lives 20 years and another lives 120 years, who has the home field advantage? If wisdom is gained by knowledge and knowledge is by experience, we've all met those who are old souls in young bodies. I've met some very young souls in very old bodies. Does that, though, somehow equate to wisdom, to where the journey of an individual is? How do you measure where one's journey is to another? If there is a spirit realm, which I do believe there is, then this is the time now. The thing I so despise about religion is that it characterizes something by limitations. The de of the effect is that it constrains the infinite. And that can't be. And even if you buy into that, then the hierarchy structure, well, we're complete ignoramuses. We're so ignorant of that which we will become immersed into. I don't know if we studied, and apparently, according to Michael's book, Dr. Newton's book, apparently we do. Apparently, we spend a great deal amount of time with our tribe. Each of us have a guide. Time is only time when we're immersed into it. Apparently, there are places in the spirit realm where time has no relation. Apparently, we do take time to determine what bodies we want. Looking at the challenges that we need to accomplish determines the parents. The most horrendous parents, apparently, we take on as a challenge. There is a prize, a great prize, apparently. Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it. So check this out. I put together, excuse me, and I want to make sure that I have the right one here. So, Okay, here we go. This is what I'm pretty well convinced that this is what it is. I really do. I think this is what reality is. See, still have this cold. It's nuts. But by all descriptions, this is the way it is, apparently. Um, there's a place for all of us. We have tribes, we have family, we have, well, if you believe the stories, multiple lives. Don't have to do them, not required, but nevertheless, we do. All of us do. Many people say, well, what accounts for the population explosion? Well, we're limited to what we find out is the history of man. Apparently, we have way long history. Um, whatever our forms are, this is where we are. Based on the intensity of maturity, I don't know if it's ascended consciousnesses, but this is what apparently we do. Apparently, everybody wants to go to the higher realm. So here's the first question. Does everyone on the other side speak English, or do you learn a new way to communicate? It's interesting because some of the stories, their thought is thought, but is thought all universal? Question 2. Does a spirit get hungry? Does it actually produce waste? I mean, does it consume energy? Does it put off energy? Does it feel pain, pleasure? Is it ruled by gravity? Is it impacted by radiation? If you traverse through to wherever we go, do we go through black holes? It sounds to me in a lot of the stories we do. How is it that we can run, fly, or float? How is it that we can alter physical matter? It appears that the spirit needs to sleep. It would determine that we have the semblance or representation of what organs are. Apparently, we do have eyes, ears, fingers, although that when we're in our mist form, that's not necessary. It seems consciousness becomes all within itself. Um, the question is, does the spirit continue to grow old or young? The concept that I think it was Gilbert who wrote in there, well, who's writing the rules? I agree. Who's setting the definition? By what standard? How do you determine old or young? But we can't be so, how should we say, philosophical here that we don't address the key point. And that is, there's obviously old spirits, there's young spirits. Again, I ask the question, are new spirits being created right now? I don't know. And can a spirit leave the earth, travel in space? It seems that there is a distance that we all travel. The people that give their stories, it's hard for them to put into words. But there is a pull, apparently. Now, the purpose of the universe is what? Oh, I mean, is it infinity? Does the universe serve a purpose at all? Well, one would think that at least it serves one purpose for us being in here. So, a human spirit, is it limited to just Earth or is it limited to just the universe? And the question that I ask is, why are all beliefs of religions focused just on Earth? The constructs never, even heaven or even hell, is within the construct of Earth itself. Seems limited, doesn't it? Does to me. So that would imply a huge waste, a limited to man alone. I mean, is this just us, sapiens? Is it? I don't know. I don't know what other planet life would look like. We're finding out that life, even here on Earth, does not fit the constraints of carbon life forms. Is man exiled? And if we are, why? And if nothing else exists but Earth, even in the reincarnations of our development, why just Earth? Does that mean to be born on Earth, that eternity is then limited to either a heaven-hell concept or something in between, and yet the universe continues, and that somehow these places are then separated realities or universes? We're all going to get there. I don't know about this, but again, we're all going to go to the other side. Now, to be of this mind would make all other life forms meaningless and a waste. One of the things that I found early in the conundrums of my former religion and faith was that it never explained where the demons came from. Never. I mean, in fact, the thing that I could never figure out is that you had this Old Testament thing going on, and then bam, you had this New Testament thing, and it came with a little bundle of what, man, it used to scare the hell out of me. The thought of demons. Oh, all right, where the hell did they come from? But I digress as we move forward on this. So the question is, so what happens when Earth, bam, is gone? Hit by an asteroid, which it has been. I mean, what is the waiting line suddenly backed up? Whoa, 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 whoa. And then the question I keep on asking myself, so I've been classified as a sapien. Does that mean at one time I could have been a Neanderthal? Could have been something that we don't even know about? I mean, is the sapien, you see where this goes? I mean, it's like, again, which version of man supposedly sinned in the garden? Was it a Neanderthal? Those son of a bitches, they always screw things up. Or was that those pansy sapiens? I don't know. Why am I limited to so few choices in a universe that is unlimited and still unknown? Why most of Earth is based being, the Earth-based being systems, they are single dimensions in their construct with direct connections to this reality, i.e. either heaven, hell, risk, reward, punishment, etc., never separating from this one. Would there not be completely a different dimension with different laws upon death? These laws here couldn't apply into the next. I mean, if it did, then it means that really the next isn't nothing more than what? A version of this one? Would there not be a totally, completely separate dimension? I would think that there would be. What I find odd is that if you study this, there are no new religions, just the old ones. Why? Why no new revelations? Why no new insights for humanity? Why only the old? Is there nothing new or nothing more left? Think about it. We haven't had an upgrade to the operating system in thousands of years. By any definition and by any other cognitive thought, one would immediately say something's wrong. This ain't working. Is it just this or that? Again, it seems to point to all of this coming down to, I don't know if you want to call it energy. I don't know if you want to call it whatever. It seems to be something much, much more deeper. And I ask these questions all the time because, well, quite frankly, I don't think anyone who's really come up with a better answer. At least the ones I keep are just rhetoric. They just go over and over again. Let's continue on to this because this is all about magic. Franz. Y'all remember Franz, right? He didn't go anywhere. He's still here. Excuse me. You know, we didn't do our affirmations for the day. I'm going to put this to the side. We'll do this at the end. But Franz. So Franz writes about God. I love this because it's going to go, you're going to see how it folds in here. This is what Franz view from a magician's point of view about God. Since the remotest times, mankind has always believed in something beyond human understanding, something transcendental that he idolized, no matter whether there was question of personified or unpersonified conceptions of God. Anything man was unable to understand or to comprehend was imputed to the powers above, such as his intuitive virtue admitted them. In this way, all the deities of mankind. Listen, folks, we all made them up. At some point, reality is going to have to set into our species that if these gods existed, they'd have shown up on the scene a lot. Now, people will say, yeah, but how do you answer, these miracles? Us. I'm not saying that there isn't something above that, but if we have the divine spark within us, we're certainly not letting it shine. So, in this way, all the deities of mankind, good and evil ones, demons, have been born. As time went on, gods, angels, demiurges, demons, and ghosts have been worshipped, irrespective of their ever having been alive in reality, or their having existed only in fancy. With the development of mankind, the idea of God was shrinking, especially at the time when, with the aid of the sciences, phenomena were explained that previously were ascribed to the gods. A lot of books would have been written if one wished to enter into details at the various ideas of God in the histories of the nations. Let us approach the idea of God from a magician's standpoint. To the plain man, the idea of God serves as a support for his spirit, just not to entangle himself in uncertainty or get out of his depth. That's the extent of virtually all people. That's why we go to religion. Therefore, his God always remains something inconceivable, intangible, and incomprehensible to him. It is quite otherwise with a magician who knows his God in all aspects. He holds his God in awe as he knows himself to have been created in its image. Consequently, to be part of God, he sees his lofty ideals. His first duty and his sacred objective in the union with the Godhead and becoming the God-man. The rise of the sublime goal shall be described later on. The of this mystic union with God consists in developing the divine ideas from the lowest up to the highest steps in such a degree as to attain the union with the universal. Everyone is at liberty to abandon his individuality or to retain it. Such genii usually return to earth entrusted with a definite sacred task or mission. So, I'm going to stop in there and we're going to continue on because I don't know. Are you an old soul? I keep on asking. Are you a young soul? I keep on thinking, all right, so our spirits, again, are they being created anew? Apparently, they don't have all the knowledge. Apparently, neither does God in the mainstream sense of it. Many times, it's like the dude's absent, you know? It's like, hey, what happened? What happened? What's going on here? You know? The Genesis 6 story, perfect example, the book of Enoch. You know, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael goes up to God and goes, as the story goes, hey, look what the hell is going on down there. It's absolutely chaos. I mean, these people are they're just going crazy. Dogs and cats living together. They're worshiping different, you know, and God's going, what? What happened? It's like, you know, well, they created a different life form down there. When did that happen? Exactly what the story is. But, hi, Carol, good to see you. But that's the question. We haven't had an upgrade to religion in 2,000 years. And you know, humans, there comes a point in time when they just go, it's happened to us before. You know, we eject them out and we'll find some new ones. And we are finding new ones. There's no doubt about it. So check this out. So a lot of people ask me, they say, well, how do you deal within man's failings what is interpreted as sin? All religions, even much metaphysical, I'm talking to Doc Ram, going to get him on next week. There seems to be this failing. Now, I don't think it's a failing. Now, do people screw up when they're in these bodies? Absolutely. But I don't think it's a thing called sin. The reason why God can't forgive it is that, number one, God and any of the constructs of what God is by what man has defined it never created it. Man did, if you follow this story. So only man can forgive sin. Here's what I found real interesting in the Gnostic. It says that Christ boldly taught that ignorance is the cause of all sin. Ignorance. He saw that in order to practice forgiveness, or the science of forgiving, man must be enlightened to the fact that man has the power to forgive all sin, discord, and inharmony. That it is not God who forgives sins, for God has nothing to do with sin, sickness, or inharmony of man. That man himself brought these into being, and man is the only one who can erase or forgive them. He saw that man must learn that ignorance is disregarded and lack of understanding, both of divine mind as the creative principle and of his relation to that principle. Gives us a lot more power than what we give ourselves credit to. By the way, you need to understand some of these things. There are more living spirits, souls, and other life forms existing next to you now than you can count. I brought this up yesterday, and it's something we got to get into our minds. So you get into your mind more, you're going to see a little bit more. Many of these entities exist on and in multiple dimensions and can actually be living in each of these planes at the same time. It's a matter of the grade that you are in your consciousness. Some of the entities exist outside time and space. I think we may be one of those. All entities have names. Many come from the plant and animal realms. Most cannot transcend into the material realm. However, they can and do influence events in this material realm. Some are not aware of you as you are not aware of them. Others know you very well. There is nothing hidden. Different kinds, different types of spirits. The number that watch you are in the millions, if not more. There are those who can only manifest to a human mind. They take images from you, for they have none of their own. They exist without form. It's kind of like silly putty. You ever had that as a kid? Love that stuff. It's exactly the same principle. There is order and structure with these entities. There is a hierarchy. And we're learning that now. Everything in the material realm is ruled over by multiple entities, spirits, and others. There is a group of others that, I don't know, maybe they're called, they're the super. They're way up there. Apparently that's where we're heading. All these are under master spirits, dominions, governors, principalities, kingdoms, princes, powers, and rulers. Seems to be very well organized. Many will work with human spirits, many will not. Many simply do not care or are in the least bit interested in the affairs of human mortal souls. I just saw something just go right by. Many will align themselves with the gods or God mankind creates. And it's really interesting the power of what our our ability to create out of the ether. And if thought is of form, because if it ain't, sweetheart, then that means we ain't either. So the fact that mankind can create gods alone and even give you the effects of what would appear to be superpowers. I mean, think about it. If God in the construct of what is being taught today in modern man, think what he has to overcome. He's got to overcome the Justice League, Superman, Batman, Iron Man, the Flash, Captain America, Wonder Woman. I mean, that's some stiff competition. And then we got to think about, well, now, we understand the empire. Got that. We understand, this is what a god would have to compete against. Because if it can't match those powers, the only way it can exist is that it doesn't appear. And there are many other souls, both mortal and immortal. I know that sounds odd, but it's true, or so it says. I know this is in titles. It should be entities can die a so-called second death. There is this thing where you can go that I guess it's absolute zero. However, this has never been proven to be a fact other than the dogma. The Bible states that there's 100 plus trillion angels. Philo stated that there is no number known to man. Not all good, nor are all evil. There are many who are neither. just they're indifferent. Um, even with other planets, the souls are different. Did you ever think about that? I mean, how could they be the same as us? Unless you're saying this reality is universal and the construct of God, evil, good, bad, etc. I don't think we can say that. Many are of a lower class and can be invoked and commanded over by humans and others. By the way, let me just explain something to you yesterday about Daniel Neem's pictures. And when we started talking about quantum reality, we're going to get into the fact that you and I are quantum. You put yourself in the middle of the universe. What do you think your size is going to be like? The complexity of your quantum may be quite fascinating, but still, you are virtually invisible. You are so small that you could never be seen unless it was under specialized microscopes. Think about that. There are those of higher classes that can be invoked and will bend to the desire of those who called them, but they demand something in return and for the most part have no feelings for humans one way or the other. There are those mortal souls that are immortal gods, and there are legions of entities, servants, that have been sent to minister to the needs of these spirit beings in human bodies. We're into that now. Most stand idle. Their masters never become aware of them. I've read and I've been told this back in the 80s in a lot of my religious studies that if you believe in the construct of the fact of angels, 100 trillion, that means many of us would be guilty of not putting them to work. Be a terrible existence, wouldn't it? Some are our guides, others are tribe or family. Yet there are higher conscious beings. Mortal souls are destined for such to become higher conscious beings, although not all will achieve. Many change. And here's the thing, and they become different. It's an odd transformation. It's not the majority. It's a very small minority, but apparently you and I, others, have this. If you get so far over into something, you can literally change whatever it is that we're made of. Now, they say that those who make this transmutation, the masters, the master spirits, will segregate them. They will literally create a reality that they exist in. It's pretty bizarre. Gene Roddenberry knew a lot of this stuff. I think of that rascal all the time. He had one, if you were a Next Generation fan, Mr. Morty, Sherlock Holmes' arch enemy, when in the episode, you can check it out, it's called Message in a Bottle. Very interesting. But anyway, there is a class that are against humans, and they have been waging a war against mankind, and they are cunning. They are high master magicians, and their kind have been successful in keeping mankind satisfied, and that the spirit of mankind are in covenant with these beings. Now, this gets a little deep here, and it's if man is represented by a consciousness, our species, I don't know if we are. The complexity of the other realms. I mean, if we have a universal consciousness of humanity, it appears that we have been lullified. We're couch potatoes. We can't get up. We're so fat, we can't move. But we're satisfied. Ain't much need to go too much further. And apparently, individually, we make contracts before we get into these realms. In the epochs that this has been going on, from time to time, a fragments, rebels, they break away, and this is always apparently in conjunction with other events of the cosmos. I interpret that to mean that there's apparently regions of space, a different type of energy, different type of radiation. Listen, I contend that if we're spirit, why wouldn't energy impact us? Maybe it doesn't harm us like radiation, but nevertheless, the analogy of that there is a radiated source. Apparently, when we go back to where is home, many of us, all of us, now even the more mature ones don't have to be in as long, but apparently the younger souls or spirits, they spend sometimes a very long time in what they call a healing reality. The battles of earth in their bodies that they just left, psychically, I'd call it tumors upon the spirit, upon the soul. These are the regrets. These are the disappointments. These are a lot of the negative aspects that I contend if we could see our spirits, we would see there are lumps on us, all of us, because we're all working something out. And that it takes this process of being in this energy, this light, to heal us. And some souls or spirits are so damaged that they're not allowed to go back into the tribe, the general population. And there's this whole thing with different cosmic events, planetary events. These entities are responsible for creating most of the world religions. We gave life to them. They have the divine, what is called the Devas, the God-man of creation, worshiping. That's us. We are known as the God-man. These are not the spirit of man. Man is not to worship other spirits of any kind. Man has already achieved creator ascension level. It is said this is what sin actually is that we have forgot that we are creators. We see it manifest in our lifetimes. But again, we're talking theory here, philosophy. To invoke is to enter into a covenant. Benefits, yes, but penalties. Nothing is free. I've written to a number of people and said, can I get money? And I said, yeah. But I wrote to all of them. I said, but that's not your problem. It's the systemic of a much greater problem. I mean, I could give you $1 million. It would destroy you. In fact, many people who win large amounts of money end up in early graves. Many end up broke because it was never the money that they were actually needing. No spirit is to worship another spirit, none. So, as you can see, lots of questions. I think that when we look into this, I think that there is a recycle. The toroidal field is the only thing that makes sense. And by everything that I'm reading, and I've got 3 different books here, but it certainly seems like that. It seems like, and there's a lot of us. I don't know if it's, I've told you in my vision what it was like. I mean, it was vast. I remember standing on, I don't know what the heck it was. It didn't have, but it was crowded. There were more spirits than, it was overwhelming. You could almost become overwhelmed by the amount of energies that are there. And the stories that many people talk about, that this place where all of us are going to be at, I'm convinced of it. We'll have our guide to meet us, or depending on what our maturity level is, apparently we go into a place where there is a debriefing with your spirit guide. There apparently is some of us that will answer to a much higher council. We self-put ourselves through this. I often wonder, if you want to become a god, I mean, if that's the ultimate destiny, maybe some of us, as I've been told, will be guides. We ourselves will eventually be assigned another soul, another spirit to watch over. And these assignments they're not short assignments. They can transverse millions of years. Some of us are destined to be in other places of authority. But if you're going to be in those places of authority, how does the soul, the spirit, become versed and not having you make some damn stupid statement and you wipe out a whole freaking species of beings because you don't know how to control your mouth? You don't know how to control your temper. You don't know how to control your bigotry. You don't know how to control your imagination. You don't know how to control your tongue. You don't know how to control your thoughts. And you're going to become a god? I don't think so. And if you think these things out, people say, well, I'm one with the universe and the universe is one with me. Yeah, I mean, that technically is absolutely right. Science has proven that. We're all made up of atoms. So that in its construct is absolutely correct. But it's only a small limit. Because if you are not an individual, then you don't have any place in the universe. What are you going to contribute? I don't think the universe has freeloaders. I don't. If you're lazy, then there's something you're going to have to work out. I think that it's never going to be handed to us at any time on a silver platter. It's not how we grow. It's not how we grow physically. It's not how we grow spiritually. The bigger the challenges, the better the growth. You know, I think it would be an honor to be a spirit guide to another spirit, to watch over the epochs of its development, marveling at its accomplishments and grieving with it, but never holding it in failure of its mistakes. I mean, maybe that's how it is. I don't know. Going to find out. So are you. All right, let's do the affirmations real quick. Y'all thought I forgot about this, didn't you? I did not forget. Yesterday was a little holiday for us over here. So anyway, we've got to do this, and I hope everyone's continuing. If not, you're just cheating yourself. That's all I got to say. All right, God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. Man, have we covered that today. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me, the reality of me. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and the substance of all my good. I am conscious of the inner presence of my lavish abundance. I am conscious of the constant activity of the mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my mind is filled with the light of truth. I think if you can say that you are at a place where you've learned to master things, I think the thing is that sometimes many of us may have at one time been very rich in another life form. It's interesting if you deny yourself that trained ability and say, well, let me just take that and remove this one and this cycle through. You know what? They end up wealthy again, prosperous. Not get the idea. It's not money. There's a wealth that, unfortunately, in our Western culture is not defined or respected anymore. Money is not my supply. No person or condition is my supply. My understanding and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine within me is my supply. The consciousness of this truth is unlimited. My inner supply instantly and constantly takes on form and experience based on my needs and desires. As the principle of supply and action, it is impossible for me to have any needs or unfulfilled desires. The divine consciousness that I am is forever expressing its true nature of abundance. That is its responsibility, not yours, not mine. My only responsibility is to remain aware of this truth. Therefore, I am totally confident in letting go and letting God, the infinite being, appear as the abundant all-sufficiency in my life and in my affairs. My consciousness of the spirit within me is my unlimited source, is the divine power to restore the years the locusts have eaten. That's that restoration. It makes all things new and places me on the high road to abundant prosperity. This awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the Spirit appears as every visible form, I love that, and experience I could possibly desire. When I'm aware of the God self, the God man, within me as my total fulfillment, I am fulfilled. I am now aware of the truth. I have found the secret of life. The knowledge of the activity of the divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creativity, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow, baby. I keep my mind and my thoughts off this world. That's what we were doing today. Boy, if this wasn't off world today, I tell you, I place my entire focus on the divine presence within as the only cause of my prosperity. I acknowledge the inner presence as the only activity in my financial affairs, all my affairs, as the substance of all things. I place my faith in the principle of abundance in the action within me. Boy, you know, I see it carries over to the next side, baby. I do. Good stuff. I mean, folks, this just excites me. If there's one thing that I hope to be known for is that we not only breached the wall on many of the taboo things and many things that have been so misconstrued with former beliefs and thoughts, that we dared to go where no angel or demon ever dare, and that we began to discover that knowledge is neither good nor evil, it just is. It's the maturity of the individual that makes it either good or evil. And this is what we're on. Tomorrow we're going to have Trina on. I'm excited to see where this is going. I probably may follow up on this. I mean, the idea, are we here? Is this your first time? Are you looking in the camp that says, oh, no, it's only one time? I don't see how that's possible anymore. How do you learn? The frustration of my soul is I realize there's not enough time. Anyway, I love you folks. Y'all are cool. We're all going to get there. I hope, seriously, who knows what different tribes all of us are. I have a sense many in this community, because we're a tight little group here, the numbers are consistent. This group has stayed together. It's bonding. I wonder if many of us are tribe members on the other side. I don't know. I think that'd be cool as ever. I mean, that's as far out when you think about it. Can you imagine it? Like, hey, Susan. Yeah. I knew that there was something about that, man. Where you just got that feeling, you just do. I mean, like my friend Jeff Doherty, when you'd meet people, there was a couple there, him and Mike, that, as well, you just, and can't forget him on the other side, but yeah, it's like when we all came together, it was like, well, we felt comfortable with one another. There weren't airs. There wasn't anything but a kind of relaxed, like, yeah, I don't know. I got a sense that it may be true here. All right, folks, I appreciate you. Y'all are the best. I mean, hey, David, I'm looking forward to meeting y'all too. We're going to get it together. And thank you, Bama. That's very sweet of you. You folks are fantastic. We're going to meet on the other side. And I'm going to thank you. I'll give you a hug. Now, what we'll do is that we'll touch, the energies. And they say that that's what we can do. We'll be able to actually think of you. And so thinking of your name, because you're going to be associated with this anyway, it's like picking up the telephone. Well, hello, Robin. How you doing? Well, Wayne, I've been thinking about you. And if the connection is strong enough telepathically, we actually can appear with one another. They say that the energies actually can embrace other energies, that there is a sharing that takes place. I think that's just far out, folks. I mean, listen, I've heard a lot of descriptions of the afterlife. This one, I can hitch my horse up to, my wagon. It's like, all right, let's go. Yeah. So let's just hope so. All right. All right, folks, I'll see you tomorrow. Be good. Love yourselves. And, just keep smiling. That's all you can do. All right. Bye-bye, folks.